Hi, this is Chef Skip. Let's talk about Chapter 10, Workplace Safety. Workplace safety is paramount in any company. In food service, it's essential. Personal protective equipment, or PPEs. A business that focuses on safety provides good quality tools, utensils, equipment, and protective clothing for all of its employees. Personal protective equipment, or PPEs, such as gloves and goggles, include the basic tools to protect employees from potential hazards such as fires, sharp edges. Additionally, employees must avoid clothes that can increase their risk for injury, such as loose or baggy shirts that can get caught in machinery, catch fire, or interfere with lifting, jewelry, especially necklaces and bracelets, that can get caught in machinery, scarves or neckties that can get caught in machinery or catch fire. Cooks and other kitchen employees who work around heat can wear long sleeves to protect their arms and an apron or chef's jacket for added protection against burns. In addition, they should follow these guidelines when using other clothing or gear. Use dry mitts and gloves because wet materials can conduct heat quickly and cause steam burns. Frequently check protective clothing and equipment for worn spots, defects, or any damage that can make the items less effective. Any damaged items should be replaced as soon as possible. Some employees, such as dishwashers and porters, can wear heat-resistant, knee-length protective aprons and snug-fitting gloves made from non-flammable materials. They should never wear rubber or disposable plastic gloves when handling hot items, as these can melt and burn to the hands. Employees can wear goggles or safety glasses to protect themselves from splashing chemicals or from food that might fly out of grinders, choppers, or mixers. In some states, safety glasses are required when deep fat frying. Shoes are an important part of personal protective equipment. Well-designed footwear helps prevent slipping, tripping, or falling, and protects your feet from falling objects or spills from hot water or food. Shoes should have the following qualities: skid-resistant soles, low sturdy heels, either no laces or laces that tie tightly, water, heat, and grease resistance, closed toes, non-porous material to prevent hot liquids or caustic chemicals from soaking through. Everyone is responsible for wearing PPE and using equipment correctly. Managers should reinforce the importance of workplace safety regularly and make sure everyone is trained on the correct procedures. According to the National Restaurant Association, restaurants with their open flames, hot equipment, electrical connections, cooking oils, cleaning chemicals, and paper products have all the ingredients for a fire to flame out of control. Nearly 8,000 eating and drinking establishments report a fire each year, according to 2006 to 2010 data tabulated by the National Fire Protection Association in Quincy, Mass. These fires caused an annual average of $246 million in direct property damage. 1/3 of all accidental fires in restaurants are due to either faulty electrical wiring and equipment or improper use of equipment. So it is important that employees always check for hazards before using any electrical appliance. Managers and employees can take these other precautions as well. Prevent grease fires by scheduling regular cleaning for walls and work surfaces, ranges, fryers, broilers, and microwave and convection ovens, heating, air conditioning, and ventilation units, and hoods and filters. Use a professional company specializing in cleaning equipment. For maximum safety, hoods and ducts are best serviced by qualified professionals every 6 months. Keep all flammable items and materials away from heat sources, such as ranges and hot water heaters. Store all linens and food in dry storage boxes. Store paper goods away from corrosive materials such as acid cleaners or bleaches. There are different types of fires. The types you might encounter in a commercial kitchen are classified as A, B, C, or K. Different types of fires require different types of fire extinguishers. Fire extinguishers are labeled to show which type of fire they are effectively used for. Class A are ordinary combustibles: wood, paper, cloth, cardboard, rubber, many plastics. Most often occur in food storage rooms, dining areas, restrooms, and garbage storage areas. Type A or ABC extinguishers may be used in a Class A fire. Examples: fire in a trash can, cigarette igniting a tablecloth, plastic container that comes in contact with a range burner on a hot griddle. A Class B fire is flammable liquids. Flammable liquids, gases, grease, oil, shortening, or pressurized cans. They may occur in kitchens and maintenance areas. Only BC and ABC extinguishers should be used in Class B fires. Examples: flames from a grill igniting grease deposits on a hood filter in the kitchen, aerosol cans stored near a heat source and exploding. Class C, electrical equipment. Live electrical equipment, cords, circuits, motors, switches, and wiring. Only BC and ABC extinguishers should be used in electrical fires. Examples: fire in a toaster, frayed cord ignited while a machine is operating, fire in the motor of a grinder. Class K, kitchen fires. Fires involving combustible cooking fluids such as oils and fats. Class K wet chemical extinguishers should be used on kitchen fires involving fryer oils and fats. Example: fire involving the deep fat fryer in a commercial kitchen. A fire safety expert can help identify the right types of fire extinguishers for a restaurant or food service operation. All types of extinguishing systems work by using one or more of 4 ways to put out a fire. 1. Remove the fire's fuel supply. 2. Deny the fire oxygen. 3. Cool the fire's fuel below its combustible point. And 4. Disrupt the flame's chain reaction by using a dry chemical extinguisher. Handheld portable fire extinguishers can be used for small fires, those smaller than 3 foot tall and/or wide. But the person using the extinguisher must know the correct way to handle it. Any fires larger than 3 foot size are a job for the fire department. Portable fire extinguishers are marked with the type of fire they fight. A good workplace safety practice is to identify the specific areas of the kitchen and facility where different types of fire extinguishers should be located. Air pressurized water, or APW. These large silver extinguishers are filled with ordinary water and pressurized with air. Detergents are sometimes added to produce foam. Use them on Class A fires only. Carbon dioxide, or CO2. These red extinguishers are filled with pressurized carbon dioxide gas. They may deplete the user's oxygen supply. Respiratory protection should be used in confined spaces. Use them on Class B and C fires only. Multi-purpose dry chemical. These are red extinguishers with a fire retardant powder, and they can be used on A, B, C, and BC fires. Class K chemical. These extinguishers use a variety of chemical agents, either wet or dry. Some restaurant and commercial kitchens are required to install Class K extinguishers. They should only be used on deep fryer fryers and only after electrical power to appliances has been shut off, as some Class K agents are electrically conductive. All employees should know where extinguishers are located and what types they are. It is important that all fire extinguishers be clearly and properly labeled, so the user can quickly identify the class of fire for which the equipment will be used. Train everyone on safe use of portable fire extinguishers. Many local fire departments will come out and provide demonstrations and training the correct ways to use fire extinguishers. When spraying an extinguisher, stand 6 to 8 feet away from the fire and try to remember the pass system. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the trigger, and sweep from side to side. Finally, remember to do the following. Routinely check for damaged fire extinguishers, replacing those that are not working properly. Make sure that each fire extinguisher has a current, dated inspection tag. A fire extinguisher inspection checklist and calendar are helpful. Service and recharge any fire extinguisher that has been used. Always leave a way to escape when fighting a fire. Many restaurants and food service operations have automatic systems that operate even when no one is in the facility. Automatic sprinklers provide an early and effective response to fire. There are a variety of fire detection devices used in restaurant and food service operations. Smoke and heat detectors require a dependable source of electricity, either from batteries or from being connected to wiring, a loud alarm, and a test button. Smoke detectors require a flow of air in order to work well, so they should not be located in dead spaces, such as the end of a hall or between ceiling beams, and placement should be in accordance with your local regulatory authority. Ionization detectors. These use a small electric current to detect combustion particles from smoke, heat, or flames. Photoelectric detectors. These use a beam of light located inside the device to react to the smoke or flame. Heat detectors detect fires when there is no smoke. They are activated by the significant increase of temperature associated with fire. Flame detectors react to the movement of flames. A fire safety expert should install and maintain all fire detection devices. Thermostats. These contain a metal strip or disc that closes against an electric contact and starts the alarm when a preset temperature is reached. Rate of rise detectors. These trigger an alarm when the temperature rises faster than a preset number of degrees per minute. Flame detectors. These use infrared and ultraviolet sensors to respond to the movement of flame or in its radiant energy. Should you fight a fire? The most important rule for fighting a fire is to ask yourself if you or anyone else is in danger. The only fires that employees of restaurants or food service operations ought to tackle are small ones, such as a fire in a single pan or a fire in a trash can. According to the National Fire Protection Association, do not attempt to fight a fire if the following events occur. The smoke is extremely thick. The fire is too hot for you to get close enough to fight it effectively. The fire is greater than 3 feet across. There are potentially hazardous substances near the fire. You do not have the correct type of fire extinguisher for the fire on hand. You do not know how to use the fire extinguisher. When you make the decision that you cannot fight the fire alone, take the following steps. Call the fire department. Begin evacuating staff and guests. Turn off the gas valve to prevent escalation. Most restaurant and food service operations have a large valve that turns off all gas to the kitchen. Meet other employees at the pre-assigned meeting place. Make sure that all persons have safely escaped. When the fire department arrives, inform the firefighter if anyone is missing. Do not re-enter the building yourself. Remember, if there is any doubt about fighting a fire safely, the best response is to set off an alarm and evacuate immediately. If the fire is electrical or from an unknown source, notify the fire department even if the fire appears to be out. Many types of injuries are common in restaurants and food service operations. A burn, often from a heat source, is one of these possible injuries. Burns are classified as being first, second, or third degree. The degree refers to the severity of the burn. First degree burn. This is the least serious degree of a burn. The skin turns red, feels sensitive, and may become swollen. Treatment: run cool running water over the burn or cover it with wet, cool towels. Do not apply ice. Second degree burn. This burn is more serious and painful than the first degree burn. Blisters form and may ooze. This degree causes intense pain and swelling. Treatment: cool the skin in the same manner as the first degree burn. Do not apply ice, ointments, or bandages. Seek medical attention immediately. A third degree burn. This is the most serious burn, but it is painless because damage to the nerves means the burned area does not have feeling. The skin may turn white and become soft, or it may turn black and hard. Treatment: cover the burn with cool, moist, sterile gauze. Do not remove burned clothing. Do not apply ointments, a cold compress, or cold water. Seek medical attention immediately. Avoiding burns. There are 6 main safety processes that help prevent burns. Traffic patterns are an especially important consideration in preventing burns in kitchen and serving areas. When carrying hot food or other hot items such as a hot pot, pan, or utensil, warn others that you are coming through. It is also important to inform those working near you that a pot, pan, or utensil is hot. The following steps can help prevent accidents due to the traffic patterns. Set one-way traffic patterns wherever possible. Maintain adequate travel and working space around heating and cooking equipment. Keep all aisles and doorways clear of obstacles. Doors should swing freely and not be in the way of work areas. Always respect heat and always assume that a heat source is on and that pots and pans are hot at all times. Be sure the kitchen is well equipped with hot pads or oven mitts. When using deep fat fryers, it is important to remember some basic precautions. Before placing food in the fryer basket, dry it off or brush excess ice crystals off frozen food with a clean paper towel. Fill fryer baskets no more than half full. Follow the manufacturer's directions for cleaning, filtering, and adding new fat or oil, and stand away from splashing grease. Never lean over the fryer when working. Lower and raise baskets gently to avoid splashing grease. Place the draining receptacle as close to the fryer as possible to avoid spills. Use long-handled tongs or another appropriate utensil when removing products from the deep fat fryer. When using steam equipment, follow basic safety procedures. Check the steamer and steam table contents carefully. Check the pressure gauge in a steamer and make sure the pressure is released before opening. Always keep your face away from escaping steam. If steam tables are used in the dining area, post signs as necessary and provide long-handled serving utensils so the guests do not have to get close to the hot equipment. Dishwashers should be careful when removing dishes from hot water or from a dishwasher unit that releases steam, and loading dirty hot pots, pans, and utensils brought to the dish station. To protect guests, warn them if plates, food, or beverages are hot. Let them know if the interior filling of the food is hot. For coffee service, servers should hold the cup themselves while filling the cup or set it on the table to avoid spills and splashes. For the same reason, cups with hot beverages and cups of or bowls of hot soup should not be filled to the rim. There are many ways to help prevent common slips, trips, and falls. Most slips, trips, and falls occur on three types of surfaces: steps, floors, and the pavement outside the building. These types of accidents usually occur while people are paying attention to something else as they walk, talking to companions, carrying objects, or simply daydreaming. The best way to safeguard guests and coworkers is to anticipate what might happen outside or inside the operation. Exterior areas. Check exterior areas for weather hazards such as snow, ice, flooding, standing puddles, or oil slicks. Remove debris such as garbage or tree branches, especially after storms or high winds. Repair potholes or other damage to the pavement as soon as possible. Be sure there is adequate lighting for the parking lot and outdoor walkways so that people can avoid possible hazards. If any bulbs are burned out, please replace them immediately. Schedule routine maintenance to ensure parking lot safety. Sidewalks and ramps leading to the entrances of the restaurant should be clean and free of trash and brush. Keep stairways clear of boxes, bags, and equipment, and repair them immediately if any problems occur. Interior areas. Grease and oil on floors is a major cause of slips and falls and can occur anywhere. To prevent grease buildup, clean floors thoroughly at least once a day, usually after closing. Keep floor coverings, carpets, rugs, mats, and runners in good repair and clean them regularly. Make sure that these coverings fit smoothly and are tight to the floor. Rug and runner edges should be unfrayed, securely bound, and free of holes or tears, especially in the seams. Use non-skid floor mats in areas that often get wet or slippery, such as entrances, aisles, and food preparation and serving areas. Clean floors and carpets immediately whenever a spill occurs. When cleaning up spills on the floor, verbally warn guests and employees, lock the area, post a caution wet floor sign, and direct people around the spill. While prompt service is important, hurrying can cause accidents. Watch for chairs or tables sticking into aisles. All aisles in serving and dining areas should be at least 4 feet wide. Remind guests of steps and raised dining areas. Mark those areas clearly, keep them free of any clutter, and help those guests who may need assistance. Do not run or fool around on restaurant premises. Using ladders safely. Many employees use ladders in restaurant and food service operations because it's recommended that you use a ladder or step stool to reach racks and shelves that are higher than shoulder level. There are three common types of ladder used in storage areas: straight ladders, step ladders, and step stools. A straight ladder should reach 3 feet above the spot where the top of the ladder rests against the support. Step ladders and step stools should be tall enough so that an employee will not have to stand on the top step or reach above his shoulders to place an item on a rack or shelf. Inspect ladders to see if they are right for the job and are in good condition. Ladders are rated by the weight they can safely carry. Each ladder should be labeled with this information. Make sure that all parts of the ladder are in good condition. Ladders should have non-skid feet and be long enough for safe support. The safest way to use a ladder is for two people to work together. One person can hold the bottom of the ladder and the other person can climb up and pass or receive items. Here are a number of important tips for using ladders safely. Always be with someone who can hold the bottom of the ladder and pass or receive items. Be very careful if you must work alone. Set the ladder away from overhead obstacles. If you are working outside, keep the ladder firmly lodged so that a strong gust of wind will not knock it over. Rest the ladder feet on a firm, flat, clean surface. Do not try to make it taller by placing it on a box or another object. The ladder should be within easy reach of the items needed or placed where the items will be stored. Lock the folding bar of the step ladder or step stool in place. Test the ladder's balance before climbing. Never put a metal ladder on or near electrical wiring, service boxes, or equipment. Lock doors near the ladder or do not use a ladder near doors that sometimes may be open. Use at least one hand to steady yourself while climbing. If an object cannot be carried easily with one hand, get help from someone or leave the object where it is until help is available. Be careful not to lean too far to one side to reach an item. Instead, move the ladder closer. Do not stand on the top two rungs of the straight ladder or the top step of a step ladder or step stool. When the job is completed, put the ladder back in proper storage location and chain or secure it to prevent it from falling on anyone. Lifting and carrying safely. Another common activity in restaurants is lifting and carrying. Some of the strongest muscles in the body are located in the back. However, you have to use them carefully when lifting. Athletes do warm-up exercises to protect their muscles and backs from injury, and that's a good idea for everyone. Special lifting techniques help prevent back injuries, as do storage practices such as store heavy items on waist-level shelves and racks, put lighter objects on the top shelves, and mark extra heavy loads. Before lifting anything, think out the process from beginning to end. Never take a risk with your back. Follow these precautions before lifting. Wear sturdy, non-skid shoes and be sure the laces do not trail on the ground. Do not wear loose clothes that might catch on the item or on nearby objects and throw you off balance. Check the weight of the item. If the weight is unknown, test the item carefully while it's still on the floor or shelf by lifting a corner and setting it down again. Look for handholds that can be gripped with one hand. Wear gloves if the object is slippery or has sharp edges. Check the balance of the item. The contents of a box might have moved from one side, or a piece of equipment may be much heavier at one end. Surprise shifts in weight during a lift can be trouble. Ask for help if the item seems too heavy or hard to move. Use hand trucks, dollies, or carts to move heavy objects. Use proper lifting techniques. Carrying safely. The principles of safe lifting hold true for safe carrying. In restaurant and food service operations, people with heavy objects always have the right of way. Have servers and bussers plan their routes so that they can keep their bodies and carried objects in balance while they are moving. The proper way to carry a tray is with one hand in front of the tray and one hand in the middle, under a balanced load. It is helpful to have a tray stand already set up, or to have one employee set it up for the one carrying the tray. First aid. First aid refers to medical treatment given to an injured person either for light injuries or until more complete treatment can be provided by emergency service or other health care providers. Effective first aid meets the injured person's emotional and medical needs. It also helps to diffuse the shock, anger, and resentment an injured person may feel toward your operation. A good first aid program requires equipment, training, a concerned attitude for the injured, and a thorough follow-up. To ensure employee and guest safety, always remember the following points. Accidents can be prevented. Accidents have serious results. Everyone is responsible for creating a safe environment. You have a responsibility to keep yourself safe. Once you become a manager, you also have a responsibility to keep guests and other employees safe. Some state and local agencies require restaurant and food service operations to have first aid kits. First aid kits should be located within easy reach of possible accident sites inside the operation and also placed in delivery or catering vehicles if employees often work away from the operation. Most operations have specific policies for handling injuries. Typically, managers should be notified as soon as possible about any situation involving an injury. Employees should be trained to offer assistance when possible, like locating first aid kit, calling 911, etc. Most operations also have a formal incident report form for accidents and injuries to be completed and kept on file. Be sure to complete and process full documentation following any accident or first aid procedure. Include the accounts of witnesses if possible. Minor burns, first degree. Common restaurant and food service injuries requiring first aid include minor heat burns, chemical burns, cuts, sprains, and muscle cramps. Cool the burn by placing the burned area under cold running water for 5 minutes or until the pain subsides. Cover the burn with a sterile gauze bandage. Gauze should be wrapped loosely to avoid pressure on the burn area. And do not apply ointment to the burn, as it could prevent proper healing. And 3, take an over-the-counter pain reliever. Chemical burns. Remove the cause of the burn by flushing the chemicals off the skin surface with cool running water for 20 minutes. Remove items such as clothing or jewelry that have been contaminated. Apply a cool, wet cloth to relieve pain. Wrap the burned area loosely with a dry, sterile dressing, and make sure a tetanus booster is up to date in order to avoid infection. Cuts and scrapes. Stop the bleeding by applying pressure to the cut with a clean cloth. Clean the wound with clean water. Apply antibiotic cream or ointment to keep the wound moist. Cover the wound with a bandage to prevent bacteria from getting in. Change the bandage once a day or when it becomes wet or dirty. And watch for signs of infection, redness, pain, drainage, warmth, or swelling. Sprains and strains. First aid for sprains and strains includes rest, ice, compression, and elevation, or RICE. Rest the injured part of the body. Apply ice or a cold compress for 10 to 15 minutes at a time every 4 hours for the next 48 hours to prevent swelling. Wear an elastic compression bandage for at least 48 hours to reduce swelling. And 4, keep the injured part elevated above the level of the heart to reduce swelling. Muscle cramps. Massage the muscle, apply a cold compress or heat therapy, and take an over-the-counter pain reliever if required. All employees should be trained in handling the emergencies that can happen at an operation. These emergencies might include any of the following situations: foodborne illness outbreak, employees with contagious illnesses, guest or employee injuries on site, accidents involving restaurant vehicles, loss of power, water, or other utilities, fires, floods, storms, earthquakes, and other dangerous weather conditions, armed robberies, and other criminal assaults. In addition to knowing first aid medical procedures, remember to show concern for the injured person. Proper training includes instruction on staying calm in emergencies and dealing with shock and disorientation felt by those who are injured. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation, or CPR. Additional needs such as cardiopulmonary resuscitation and Heimlich maneuver training can be carefully assessed by each operation. You should not attempt to perform CPR or the Heimlich maneuver unless you have had specific and current training and certification. While these procedures can save lives, they are difficult to do without training. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation restores breathing and heartbeat to injured persons who show no signs of breathing or pulse. The Heimlich maneuver removes food or other obstacles from the airway of a choking person. Some states require either employee training in the Heimlich maneuver or posters to be displayed in the restaurant to describe the steps of the procedure. Training and certification for both CPR and the Heimlich maneuver must be renewed every year from a recognized provider of first aid training. Managers should schedule at least one trained and certified person on every shift. An often overlooked workplace safety issue involves external threats, such as arson and theft. Arson, the deliberate and malicious burning of property, is very difficult to stop, but good overall fire safety and building security can eliminate many opportunities for a criminal. It is important that employees keep back doors locked and alarmed at all times to prevent the occurrence of theft or to reduce the risk of robbery. Locking and alarming all doors and windows while the facility is closed for business reduces the risk of intruders, limits loss from robbery, and helps prevent property damage from vandalism. Develop and implement security policies and procedures to combat these risks. Have all employees review these procedures and policies and actively practice the security measures. Preventing purposeful food contamination and tampering is important. To make sure that food is safe, control access to an operation's food supplies. Uniforms and name tags are a good way to identify staff and vendors. Safety badges also ensure that people in the food area belong there. Remember, if you see something, say something.